Hi guys, I'm Emily, and welcome to Trust Me, It's Worth It, the podcast where each week I'm going to choose a film, TV show, or game that I love and force my boyfriend to watch it or play it for at least an hour.
And I'm Mike, the boyfriend, and I'll retaliate with something that I love and force Emily to watch and enjoy that for at least an hour.
Oh, great. After that hour, we'll reconvene to discuss if it was worth our time and if we'll finish watching it. Are you ready, Mike?
Oh, I'm ready.
This week, it is Battle of the TV shows. So I am bringing to the table a show that was on Netflix and normal TV. Yep, one of those that was both. And that is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
And since, you said it was sort of a comedy, so I thought I'd bring something humorous as well. I thought Channel 4's hit show Misfits, which was made back in 2009.
Oh my
So it's
gosh.
kind of old now, they got flip phones in it and stuff.
Oh,
but
yes.
It's a very good comedy, and I'm upset that you've missed it, and I'd quite happily rewatch it, so...
Yeah, admittedly, I have never watched any of Misfits. It's one of them shows where I saw the adverts, all my friends talked about it, and I wasn't trying to be cool by not watching, going, oh, I'm too cool to watch this. It wasn't like that at all. It just didn't interest me in general. So what is
Didn't
it...
interest you?
Yeah. What is it about Misfits? You can go first. What is it that you
it's
enjoy?
fundamentally interesting, so you were wrong anyway. Just the brief pitch. The concept is it's a group of teenagers who all have community service, so they're all misfits, delinquents, hence the title.
Clever name.
And there is a supernatural storm that gives everyone who's caught out in it superpowers. So they're obviously all caught out in this storm because they're doing community service, and they all get superpowers. And this is a sort of science fiction comedy, I guess. It takes superpowers in a strange direction. They don't have super flight, they're not superheroes at all. It's more about, a lot of them get powers related to their personality. So, for example, one girl, she's really in touch with her sexuality and she's quite openly sexual. And so her power or curse is that whenever she touches someone, they fall madly in love with her and basically will try and do anything to sleep with her.
That sounds like a crap power.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not going to lie to you.
This is the thing. They've got a whole episode about a guy whose superpower is lactokinesis, which
I'm
is
sorry,
one of my favourite
what?
episodes.
What is that?
So, lactokinesis, he can control milk or cheese, any lactose-based product.
But in what way can you control it? Can you just move it around?
Kinesis, kinetic, yeah, you can control it, yeah. So, like telekinesis, but with lactose. And, that's a brilliant episode because it shows immediately how creative you can be with superpowers. It doesn't just have to be people with laser eyes or flying. You can be really cool and creative with it, and people's powers can be tied more to their characters. So it is quite a character-driven show.
I like that.
And I think you'll like a lot of the characters. Like one of the lead actors, the guy that plays Nathan, you'll know him from Umbrella Academy.
Of course.
Irish guy. He's very funny, and I think you'll enjoy him as much as anything.
Yeah, I mean, we have discussed this a lot. If I could have any superpower, I always pick the same one. I'm very firm on my choice, and that would be the power of teleportation. But it would be for a very old lady reason, and that is just because it would save me time, effort, and money to get to and from places, especially work.
I would not be working if I could teleport. I've thought about this a lot, that if I could teleport, would I become like an athlete, or would then cameras pick up that I was teleporting? Or would I be able to micro teleport? So say I was a sprinter, would I be faster than Usain Bolt running if I was teleport?
I know, see, I'm always I imagine it in a world where I don't think anyone else has superpowers, so I keep very quiet about it because I don't want people to District 9 me. And
you can just teleport away.
Yeah, well, you said that. I mean, as I say, would I have told you by this point?
I should bloody well hope so. If you're teleporting to work and I've been getting up like some idiot at 7 a.m. to get to work to have an hour on the tube, and you could have been teleporting me the whole time. You could have just been doing it. That'd be it. We'd be over.
What a chump. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see that. But to be fair, you're one of those people that doesn't like rewatching things. We say this a lot. Every time I want to rewatch a movie, you don't want to. So what is it in particular you like about the show that really makes you want to rewatch it?
I think the reason I don't like rewatching, I do like rewatching shows. I have favourite films and TV shows that are easy watches, but I don't like rewatching things because time is finite and I feel like I'm just wasting my time with something I've already seen.
Oh, your
when I
precious
could be,
time.
yeah, I could be having something new, seeing something, have a different experience. But Misfits is one, it's very easy to watch, and I think it's just very entertaining and funny. So for that reason, it's great to rewatch. but also I watched it a few years ago, and I can't remember how far I got in. And there is an overarching plot to the whole narrative. There is a sort of, I don't think this is a spoiler to say, there's sort of time travel element to it. And there are more things going on than appears at first. And I can't remember the full arc of that and where that closes. I mean, one of my problems with the show is that some of the best characters, the actors, leave to go and do other projects. So it kind of gets worse, I feel, as the show goes on. But I still kind of want to see where... I'd happily go back and rewatch it just to like see when it starts getting worse, or maybe if we can power through and see all of it and then be like, yep, watch those Misfits and I remember what happens to all of it. Yeah, get what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to rewatch Misfits, partly because I want you to watch it because I think you'll really like it. And I think it'll be one of those shows where, often if I force you to watch a show, you're like, no, I don't want to watch it. And for the first half hour, you're on your phone the whole time. And then after one episode, you're like, let's watch another. I want to see some more.
Yeah, so, you're not a binge watcher though. So what's going to happen is if I enjoy it, you're going to make me watch one a night like some kind of newbie. And I'm like, come on, we've got 3 hours. That's at least 5 episodes.
You must savour it like a fine wine. I don't like binging things. It's annoying when you have a good show you want to watch, and you want to watch next one, and then you just run out and you're like, oh god, it's over already. That's what I don't like. You know when you playing a really good video game, you're like, I want to see the ending, but I also don't want to stop playing, so I also kind of don't. That feeling?
No, okay. No, I don't.
Well, I know it well.
Anyway, I'm going to move on to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend because I am super excited for you to watch this.
Yeah, well, what is it? Give me the pitch.
Okay, so it's about a woman called Rebecca Bunch, who from the outside has a pretty perfect life. Like, she is about to be made junior partner at a lawyer firm in New York. Mm-hmm. She has a really great apartment. She's really rich. She's very good looking. And... But on the inside, she hates life and she deals with a lot of issues. And just when she's about to be a junior partner, she bumps into, in New York, that place where you bump into all the people you know all the time.
Yeah. Mind you, I've bumped into people in London before.
She bumps into her ex-boyfriend from camp, from when she was like 16.
Right.
Because apparently having a camp boyfriend's a thing. I went to camp like every year in England from the age of like 8 to 15.
You went to camp? What even is camp in the UK?
Yeah, I went to Windermere. I did like sailing and climbing.
That sounds like you went camping, not to camp.
I started to go to camp. Like, I was with loads of other people I didn't know. Super fun. Anyway.
Did anyone touch you in a way that you would consider inappropriate? Or is that just...
No, it's fine. Anyway, so... she meets this ex-boyfriend who tells her that he's actually about to move back from New York to West Covina, California, because he's not happy, and he says this is where dreams happen.
Sorry, he's not happy. Oh, right.
Yeah, he's not happy in New York. And so just as she's about to make partner, turns around to the lady and is like, I am done. And she just upsticks and moves back to West Covina, California to be... with this guy.
Wait, back to... Did she live there before?
Oh, no, sorry, she didn't. But yeah, she follows him.
So she moves just to see this boy. Okay, can I have a guess of what the show is about then?
Yeah, go on, guess.
Okay, I think... So, she got the tie-flying, great career, she's loving life, or it should be, but she's actually depressed, and it's not as great as it looks. And then she wants into this boy, like you said. This rekindles all this... The only happy memory she has was when she was a child and she was at this camp, and the nostalgia goggles kick in and she's seeing everything through rose-tinted glasses, and she thinks that everything will be better if she gets with this guy, or she associates in her mind all the good things in her life with this boy, so she moves and changes her whole life to try and be with him, but obviously that isn't going to make her happy, and it doesn't all work out, and it ends up having a whole cavalcade of new events. I'm assuming that's the setup, right?
You're not far off. You are pretty close. There's other things. There's twists and turns along the way. There is 4 seasons, and they only planned 4 seasons, so it's very well planned out. And I know a thing you're not particularly keen on, shall we say, is musicals. It is a musical TV show.
Now, I don't dislike musicals. I think that's unfair. I just have a problem with certain musicals, because a good musical, the music should be woven into the narrative. So each song should be integral to the story.
Yeah.
And pulling a song out should mean the story doesn't make sense anymore, because things should be happening in the song that push the narrative forward. It should be interwoven with the narrative. And if there's musicals where you can just take the songs out and it still makes perfect sense, then I don't think that's a good musical. Mamma Mia, I'm looking at you. You know, and that's what I have a problem with musicals. And I also kind of think the music in musicals is pretty easy to write because a lot of it's just talk singing. That's a point for another day. But I actually do like well-made musicals because, you know, songs can be really catchy.
Yeah.
It's a good way to tell a story. I just have a problem with badly made musicals.
I think you'll like this one then, because the stories for me definitely are interwoven. The stories, the musicals, the songs are very much interwoven. And what I enjoy about them the most, actually, which is what I think you'll enjoy with this series, is they talk and sing a lot about taboo subjects,
Right.
such as sex and especially mental health issues. So a lot of the songs are very big, they're very in your face, they're very overdramatic. But it talks about mental health in a way that is literally, you can't hide from this. It's right here. It's as bold as brass. This is something we need to talk about.
But it's fun, right?
Yeah. So it does it in a very comedic way, and you're laughing the whole time, but you are also learning. And I actually learn a lot about different mental health issues I had no idea about.
I mean, I think that's the best way to do it, not be preachy, right? It's not talk down to people or to present it in purely a melancholy fashion.
100%.
Fashion.
I think the last thing...
So I might like that. That sounds quite good.
I think the last thing you'll enjoy about this is, I know you're a fan of this, it is a very self-aware show. It breaks the fourth wall numerous times.
Right.
Because, as in Misfits, cast members come and go and they get replaced.
Yeah.
And Rebecca Bunch notices it and she's like, that's not blah-de-blah. And they're like, yeah, it is. That's always been him. And she's like, no, he was definitely taller because the new actor's like a foot shorter.
Oh, I see. Replacing the actual... Yeah, in Misfits, it's not... They don't replace the actor. It's just like the character disappears and then they have to get a new actor in. But that's quite good. I like any joke that would work well in a script. You know, if you were sitting around a room and reading it, you know, I'm trying to... There are sometimes things like that in scripts where it says, like, the description, rather, will say, like, he was wearing a shabby blue coat, and then so-and-so would say, like, he's wearing a shabby blue coat. And I do find stuff like that sometimes quite funny, that meta humour.
They do reference, like, there is a song where they
reference
reference episodes.
Fleabag, but it sounds a bit like Fleabag.
There is, like, songs where they reference episodes and seasons and stuff, but in a very funny way. So I think you'll definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, if that's well placed, that can be really tasteful, good comedy.
Amazing. I think we should go away and watch these.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll see you guys in a bit, ready to discuss this week's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend versus...
Misfits.
Hey guys, welcome back. Obviously, we have just finished watching both Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and Misfits. Shall I go first?
Yeah, what do you think of Misfits? You were giggling a lot, so I feel like you enjoyed it. Right?
You know what? I really enjoyed it from the beginning. Nathan, is it?
The guy that's in Umbrella Academy.
Yes,
and,
I'm a big fan of him. I thought he was funny right from the start. His whole, we should be friends, we should be petty thieves together, we should be swapping notes, making alliances.
Oh, yeah.
That killed me from the start.
Yeah, he's pretty much the main comic relief character. And as I said, this is the reason I want you to watch at least like the first season, because he's one of the actors that goes off to do another project, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit disappointing that he drops out, but it's still good.
I really enjoyed it. Like, it was definitely very 2009. It felt very retro. Like, when they get hit by the lightning and it's like slow motion backwards, you can see lightning kind of go through a zoomed in eye. I was like, oh, this is what I've missed.
Yeah.
Bit of 2009.
It's a bit...
Channel 4.
It's a little bit dated in a sense, isn't it? Just because the visuals occasionally. But I think, it's got that, like, gritty, lowish budget Channel 4 vibe. I mean, I feel like as shows from that era go, it's probably kind of high budget, but yeah, you can see maybe the edges. But I guess the pilot episode, the job is often just to sort of hook you in rather than
I think it did that. The moment you find out they have superpowers, I was very interested to see what superpowers they have, and as you said previously, they relate to their characters. And, like, some of them, I definitely wouldn't want. Like, the girl that's obviously, you said, very close to her, like, sexuality. The moment someone touches her, they just want to have sex with her and they fall in love with her. I felt a bit sorry for her. I'm not sure she can ever touch anyone again.
Yeah, they play with that more than I remembered, actually, because my memory of that was much more like a curse and a really horrible power. But it's quite funny when she touches the creepy guy and he's like, I want to piss on your boobs, or whatever it is he says. And it's played... They do a very good job, I thought, in that first episode of switching between really sort of what felt like a very dangerous situation and comedy, and it doesn't feel out of place though. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. Like, as I've said before, I'm terrible with any kind of horror, and there's a bit of gore in this. Like, you see quite a bit of blood.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little
not
bit.
much.
But I think because you have that comedy relief in Nathan and this sort of band of misfits, it's just fine.
Ooh, name of the show, Band of Misfits.
Um,
Yeah, because in this first, we only really had time to watch the first episode because we watched it perfectly legally through Channel 4 and they have adverts, so we had to watch the ads. But at the end of the episode, I don't think it's a big spoiler, but basically the social worker becomes like a werewolf full of anger. His personality was that he was like calm to deal with these weird delinquent kids, but he had another side that obviously internally he hated them. Well, that's what I read from it anyway. He wanted to deal with these little shits. And he becomes deranged and tries to kill them. They, in self-defense, then kill him. A lot of the rest of the season is about them trying to cover up the death of the social worker.
I can imagine that, because they bury him under...
Just under a bridge,
under a bridge. But actually, the bit that got me that I thought was quite funny is when they're all stood in a line and there's like a new worker there and she's trying to ask them about the old one. And Nathan goes off on a ramble about how he's like, well, I just walked into the bathroom.
Can we play the clip?
Are we going to play the whole clip?
I think we should definitely play a clip of that.
Here is a brief clip of it.
A few days ago, I go into the toilets. Tony and Gary were in there. They're butt naked. Tony has Gary by his hair, like this, and he's just doing him, doggy style.
And I just found that really funny because I was just like, you go into so much death, so much crude. And then just the sort of last line of, who are we to judge?
Should a man marry his own son? Yes. No. Probably not. Yeah, it does have that vibe. I think that's a great line in the sense that they build a little bit of tension there where you think he's going to grass on them all, because he is clearly a sort of jerk that might do
100%.
that.
Like, we've read his mind. Obviously, the girl that has the power of... She doesn't like it when people talk about her, so she has the power to read minds. And so you sort of see into his mind. He's talking about sleeping with her a lot. And so you do see in his mind... he's very disturbed. But then, admittedly, I feel very sorry for him throughout the show, because like one of the first things you see happen to him is that his mum locks him out. And I felt really bad for him, because I hope my parents, wouldn't do that to me. Like,
well, we have our own house, so you'd be fine if they lock you out every night, Emily. In Sheffield, they're locking the door right now.
To be fair,
you're on the outside.
My parents, when I went back this weekend, gave me a bent key that didn't open the door, and I was like, "Are you trying to tell me something?"
Absolutely, they are.
Please don't lock me out, Mum and Dad. But yeah, I felt really sorry for him in that, and obviously he's trying to kind of hide it.
Well, that's why this is quite a good... I do think it sheds a bit of a light on it. It is a working class version of the superhero genre in a sense. He's got a real problem that a lot of people probably face, where he doesn't get on with his stepdad, and his mum is caught between his stepdad and her son, and it seems like she's given the son a lot of chances the way she talks.
Yeah.
But because we've seen the show from his perspective, obviously I sympathise with the son. And also, blood is thicker than water. What's she doing throwing her own son out? Anyway.
But yeah, then obviously he calls his friends to ask if he could stay. And there's like this montage of him like ringing so many different people, and none of them can put him up. And it makes me think it's probably just because none of his friends' parents like him. But that does just leave him at, what is he, 16, 17 or something?
I don't know how old they're meant to be. I thought they were older than that.
I don't know. Either way, quite young, just sort of... locked out of the house.
Did you interpret that? Because I interpreted that as he's an abrasive character. He's very likeable for the audience, but is he actually a good friend? Like, would you really want to be mates with this guy?
Probably not. No.
And I kind of took that as him calling all these mates, and you realise, despite how flamboyant and funny he is, he's probably not got any friends.
Yeah, I think so. I completely agree with you. Like, you look at him and he's really funny, but also I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of that. And after a while, I'd be like, mate, stop being a dick.
I mean, I'd like the banter up to the point where actually inconveniences your life. That's the line, isn't it?
Yeah, I do. I think what I most enjoy about it is when I think of superheroes, and I think I may have mentioned this, you think of like people that have had greatness thrust upon them or are born great. You have Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, all these people that, work really hard at it. So it's really interesting to see characters get superheroes that you least expect to get them. Like, they come from these council estates. They've done something wrong to be in this position. They're called misfits. it's really interesting to see these superpowers, and I'm quite intrigued to see what they do with them, because it's not like, you know, Iron Man where he's got loads of money, he can just create what he wants. They are literally, you know, in our society, not where Iron Man is.
Yeah.
And I really kind of enjoy that.
My favourite line about it, and I think I can link this to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but was when they're on the roof at the end of the show, and it's sort of one of the closing shots, and they say, what are we going to do about these powers? And I've forgotten his name now, the short kid, the creepy Ramsay Bolton character. Yeah. Anyway, he says, we could be superheroes. And that's my impression. It's very good,
beautiful,
isn't it? And Nathan's like, nah, that stuff only happens in America. And I was like, that is so good and true. Because it is that, isn't it? It's reframing this, what if people got superpowers in a freak storm or whatever, but they're British people on a council estate who are doing community service. What would they realistically do with it? I don't think it takes itself too seriously, but then it also probably is more serious than most superhero shows.
I mean, I quite enjoy that whole thing about it. I feel like we've become somewhat professional that I'm now taking notes on this kind of crap.
Yeah, what else have you got?
What did I write? I think I wrote that I found it just really funny throughout. I wasn't sure I would, because obviously I've seen a lot of the adverts. I mean, we've not seen Nathan's power yet, and I don't think this is a spoiler, but having watched adverts as I've grown up, I already know what his power is.
Yeah, I don't think that, well, it is a spoiler. The season 2 start, I think, shows that he's immortal.
Yeah, I know he's immortal. So we've got Nathan, who's obviously immortal.
I think that's funny, though.
Which I really
it
like.
Makes sense, I guess. This guy who's like, feels like he's king of the world and can never die, and he actually can't die.
Exactly. And then you've got Kelly, is it, who can read other people's minds. And thinking on reflection, I was like, oh, that'd be quite cool. And then I was like, no, I don't want to know what people are thinking about me.
Well, that's the whole thing. She's seen as a chav by everyone, that she's really rough and everyone judges her.
Yeah.
And so she can hear everyone judging her all the time, which is kind of her worst fear, really, but it also realises the truth that she's right. Everyone is judging her all the time.
Yeah.
And she can hear it.
And then you've got the poor creepy kid. Oh, his power is really sad. So like Nathan all the way through was just like, oh, he's very forgettable. His power is that he literally just turns invisible and no one can see him. How devastating is that when someone's like, oh yeah, of all the superpowers you got, because no one notices, you get to be invisible.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think his power, I hadn't noticed this, but his power is not to be noticed. It's not even invisibility. People can't hear him either.
Yeah.
So his power is actually to not be noticed, which is, his personality trait, which is kind of, it's sad, but also probably really useful, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If like a mass murderer walked in and I could not be noticed, cool.
Mass murderer.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to be mass, just you is all he needs to focus on.
Yeah.
I don't care about a murderer's track record. I care about whether he's coming for me. I'm not joking.
I've been listening to a lot of crime podcasts today, guys. But yeah, it'd be great to not be noticed. I don't know. Maybe if something's gone wrong at work, it'd be nice not to be noticed.
You're making me think about what a murderer's CV would look like now.
Let's not get into that. I'm assuming, you'd hope it's not very long.
Yeah.
But,
so I was saying about, maybe I can thread this into what I thought about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah.
So when he mentions this wouldn't happen in America, I think it fits quite nicely with the parallel of how British humour and American humour are very different, and my thoughts on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, because Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a very American show.
It's true, but before we go on to that, I just want to finish with the superpowers, because you've got the track guy who's really good at running. I think all of them, their superpowers are good, but also in a way very upsetting, because his is that when he has a traumatic experience, he can rewind time.
Yeah.
To before it. And what I thought was really sad, that I'm not sure if you got, but right at the end, he's watching an old video of him running on the track, and you can see him trying really hard to rewind back to that moment before he made his mistake and got into drugs and got banned from track for 2 years.
That's really interesting. I didn't read it like that. I thought he was just being nostalgic, like looking back like, I wish... Well, yeah, I guess I wish I was there, but I didn't think about him. He's actively trying to use his power. That's really cool. Yeah, I that.
I got that straight away.
That is really sad and sort of melancholy.
Yeah, because you can see he regrets his decision, because essentially he got done for drugs, he got banned for track for 2 years. So I think essentially he's, ruined his career.
Yeah, well, he makes the point that if anyone else had been caught, it wouldn't have been such a severe sentence, but because he's a role model, they had to discipline him more so, and he feels like he doesn't belong, like he's better than the rest of the convicts there, because he's worked so hard his whole life and did a bit of, cocaine, and he's in the same terrible situation as the rest of them now. But yeah, I didn't actually realise, only when I was looking up the wikis before recording this, so I had a good idea about the show, that I understood his power wasn't just going back in time, that it only triggers when he views traumatic events, which relates to this, he had one incident, one mistake where he was caught doing cocaine, and if he could rewind it, he clearly would do that.
Yeah.
But he can't, and now he's doomed to, relive or rewind other traumatic events, but not the one that really matters to him.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of,
all these superpowers,
poetically sad, aren't they?
All these superpowers are great, but as you say, they are poetically sad. It's like, what would I'm not sure I'd want to know in this universe what my superpower would be, because clearly it's something that reflects on your personality, but not the best part of it. Essentially, the bit you either want to hide or you don't like.
I think you would only be able to shout. You can't talk. You can't whisper. That would be your power. You can only shout. Yeah, and you try and say something on the tube and shout it out. I think that would be your power.
No one would ever be able to tell me a secret.
What would mine be?
You just have a massive head that just topples you over all the time.
I can't fit through a doorway.
You won't be able to fit through a doorway because your head would be too massive because you're too smart.
I'm like that arrogant, Christ.
Yes.
Maybe.
But yeah, let's move on. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Yeah. So we managed to watch an episode and a bit of this because Netflix obviously doesn't have adverts. Woo, go Netflix. So tell me what you thought, because you were laughing. I
mean, adverts are good. They make the world go around. Anyway, I enjoyed it. I didn't think... So you've shown me bits of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and some of the songs before.
Yes, from later seasons.
Yeah, and those songs you've shown me, I think some of them are very cleverly written, very funny, they're witty, and a lot of this pilot episode I didn't feel like quite lived up to that. I mean, obviously you've shown me like best bits.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was quite as tightly structured. And the songs... Okay, there was a good... They had the Sexy Getting Ready song, which is a song about the protagonist getting ready for a date with a guy, and it's her with backup dancers, sort of Beyonce style.
Yeah, should we just listen to a few seconds of that for you guys at home, because it's a great song. Listen to this.
It's the Sexy Getting Ready song. The Sexy Getting Ready song.
And now that you've listened to that, how did Emily know you were at home? How did you know? Anyway,
superpower, stalking.
Yeah, I think it gives... I know it is a pilot episode, but it gives off the sense that it's a pilot episode, because it's setting up for a lot of things. So the main characters, like even the intro cinematic thing, the cartoon that... what's the theme song? The theme song at the start of episode 2.
Yes.
Shows all these characters that haven't been introduced to yet. So
I mean, you've been introduced to 3 out of 4 of them that show up. They're just not... They've not been
fleshed out.
Yeah, you've not got to know them yet.
And I think it suffers... So what I was saying about the American comedy versus British comedy is it suffers from the... Everyone's too witty, everyone speaks too quickly, everyone rebuttals too fast, and they also say and behave in a way that no one in the real world would ever say and behave. And if somebody said some of the things that they say to you, you wouldn't just be like, huh? How quirky is this guy? You'd be like, this is a psychopath. I must leave this establishment now. But I take that as a given. That's okay. That's what American sitcoms are like. That's fine. It's just I prefer the British style of comedy that's more self-deprecating. The characters aren't necessarily all super witty and clever. They don't all have retorts. And it's not... People aren't weird... People aren't weird because they say something weird and everyone goes, you're weird. They're weird because of innate personality traits, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
Like the Ramsay Bolton kid. Why can't I remember the character's name? The kid that goes invisible in Misfits is weird because he's like, as Nathan says, he looks like a panty sniffer. Like just the way he looks, the way he crouches around, the way he's sort of sallow. Whereas if he was in an American show, he would have been like, I like to sniff panties. And everyone would be like, dude, that's really weird. So that's what Crazy Ex-Girlfriend would have done. Now, I'm not saying that's unfunny or bad. It is just different and not as good.
So what did you think of the main character, which is Rebecca Bunch, who is played by Rachel Bloom, who writes a lot of the songs, and I think she's also the executive producer, so she very much is very ingrained...
Write the theme tune, sing the theme tune.
...in this character. What did you think about her from the start? Because obviously we do see her go through quite a bit of a change in the first one, from this lawyer in New York to then moving to West Covina, California.
I wrote she's mad when she rejects promotion. So there's a scene when she rejects her promotion to become a junior partner or whatever, and she shouts in her lawyer's face. Lawyer? Well, she is a lawyer, her boss's face. And she seems actually just insane in that moment.
Oh yeah, because the lady's like, why aren't you accepting the job? And she literally says this.
It's where dreams live.
And that's not a legitimate response.
She's like, this is where dreams are made, and I'm like,
That's not a legitimate response. There's another one of those cases of it's super not real. I don't know what the word for that is. There must be a proper English term, but it's very...
So is it like a hyper-reality?
Yeah, it's like the opposite of that, I guess, isn't it? Sort of. It's like pseudo-real, but she says something really strange and it's never addressed. She just disappears, as if no one would question that. But I'll go through some of my notes here. So I've put, it's weird how old they are in the opening scene. So the opening scene, do you want to explain?
Oh yeah, I'll explain it. So it opens with her singing on stage at camp, but she's not like the main soloist, she's a backup dancer. And then it's her and the ex-boyfriend Josh at camp, and he essentially breaks up with her, which she finds very dramatic. And they are not played by younger versions of them, so they're meant to be 16, they're just played by them, and to make her look younger they give her plaits and a retainer, and give him a backwards hat, because apparently that makes everyone younger. Backwards hat.
This is the thing that I thought was really strange. If that scene had come after us being introduced to the characters, I'd probably be like, oh yeah, that's them younger, like cool. But it's the first scene, so I'm just like, why are people in their late 30s, maybe even 40s, dressed up as kids? I mean, I understand they're just going for that, but it looks pretty crummy and it's just a bit strange. But, you know, I'm fine with that. I think the show is quite self-aware of how kind of silly it is.
It was a very self-aware show.
It knows that it's silly. However, like I said, everyone in the show is mad. They're all insane. Like so one of the characters, I think the character that's probably going to become her best friend, right, the redhead woman.
Oh, Paula.
So Paula confronts her because Paula knows she's lying about moving to West Covina just for a job or whatever she lies about. She knows there's something going on. She discovers this ex-boyfriend, Josh Chan.
By hacking into her computer at work.
I wouldn't really call that hacking, but yeah, by going onto her computer at work and seeing that she's been on his Facebook loads. And she goes and confronts her, and they just shout at each other. And at the end of the shouting, they're suddenly best friends. And I don't understand that dynamic at all. And that to me is
but
like,
they sing a song together.
I would say the music in the show is pretty good. Like I said, the ones in this first episode, not phenomenal. I did enjoy the Sexy Getting Ready song.
Which ends with a rapper ringing up all of his ex-girlfriends to apologise for the way he's treated them after seeing how Rebecca gets ready.
He realises the effort women put in to get ready for a date, and he suddenly has an epiphany that he must apologise for.
I'm glad some men do.
What are you saying? Oh yeah, I want to rant about, and I think I've ranted to you about this before. I've probably ranted to my friends about this. What rant is this? But the triple joke problem in US comedy.
You have ranted about this. It's not specific to Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but you have ranted about this.
I'm going to do my hand slap of disapproval.
Go forth with your rant.
Basically, I have a real problem with the way American shows do this thing where they tell a joke, another character reaffirms the joke or doubles down on the joke, and then the joke is addressed for a third time. I think doing it twice is pretty bad, but 3 times is unforgivable. And this show, I don't know if I've got a good example of it doing it explicitly, but it verges on it. So there's a scene where Rebecca Bunch is in her supermarket and she's not wearing any makeup or anything. And the previous time the guy saw her, she was all dressed up, looked really nice. Yeah. Or tarted up, as my parents would say. And that's not a derogatory term, by the way, that's a compliment. You can be nicely tied up. Anyway, she bumps into this guy she was dating or went on a date with and his 2 friends, and they see her and she's very clearly dishevelled, and the guy goes, oh, I haven't seen you and you're looking very and we all know what the joke is. The joke is that she's looking rough, and last time I saw her she looked gorgeous, and it's like, yep, that's accepted. And then she says something like, yeah, I'm looking really... She finishes the sentence like, yeah, I'm looking rough. Yeah. And it's like, that's joke second. We didn't actually need Rebecca to confirm that. We understood. As an audience with a brain, we got it. We were cerebral enough to understand that bit. However, I get maybe some people didn't fully appreciate it and the second knocking of the nail needed to happen. However, then the friend then goes, yeah, you're not as hot. That's 3 times. You've used the same joke 3 times. You don't get... The writers should get pay cuts. You need 3 separate jokes. Not the same joke 3 times. Makes me angry. It ruined The Simpsons. Family Guy invented it and killed it. I hate it. However, it doesn't diminish the show. I thought the show was quite fun.
I was going to say, because you were laughing a lot. It is a good comedy. And I think some of the characters you will end up really enjoying. Like Daryl, who is her boss at work, sings a great song in the later series called... You're my best friend and I know I'm not yours and that's okay. Which I just want to quickly play that line because it is one of my favourite songs. So listen to this.
You're my best friend, and I know I'm not yours, and that's okay.
And best friend. Which, I mean, I don't know if that relates to anybody in real life, but I really enjoy it. And I sing it to some of my friends a lot just to annoy them. Sorry, guys.
I have to say, I think that's quite funny because I mean, the show, like you said, I don't know if you mentioned this before on air, about how it deals with some tricky mental health issues. Yeah. And I think it does do it in a very approachable manner. But I also think it just is quite good at doing observational comedy, really. Like the fact that some people have a best friend and they know the best friend has other best friends and they're not their best friend, but that's okay. And that's good observational comedy. You could see that in a Michael McIntyre bit of stand-up. It's nice, inoffensive.
This is true. I think comedy. The one thing you probably wouldn't notice, Amelia, obviously I've seen the first episode multiple times now, is the sort of last scene when Paula confronts her. Rebecca suddenly has a kind of realization and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm crazy. I moved here. I'm crazy. And Paula somehow manages to convince her that no, she's not. She's just in love. And that's okay. And that's very much a strong theme throughout. And it almost makes their friendship seem a little bit toxic because Paula is justifying.
Oh, she's an enabler.
Yeah, she's justifying Rebecca's actions that, admittedly, all the way through, you're justifying as well. And then you have this pivotal moment later on where you're like, I should not be enabling this. She should be getting help because what I'm doing now is making it seem like it's okay that she does these actions towards her ex-boyfriend.
Do you know what? I hadn't actually noticed that bit till you pointed it out and said, look, she said, look, in fact, when we were watching it, you were like, look, she said, you're not crazy, you're in love, and that's fine. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that because you're so used to the narrative of people doing bizarre things in movies, like running through the rain to go see someone to tell them, profess their love, when in reality a WhatsApp would have done. But you know, the real world isn't as romantic as that. And I think I wouldn't have picked up on that. But you are right. Her behaviour is deeply troubling and disturbing.
I think it's because I say it a lot, like, you know, no relationship is like a film. You don't run off into the sunset and live happily ever after. You then wake up the next day and carry on with your life. And so using excuses such as it's okay because you're in love is not an excuse to me. But even, to be fair, when I first watched it, I validated it and all the way through was saying to my friends, yeah, it's fine because she's in love.
Naughty.
His actual current girlfriend is a bitch. It's fine because she's a bitch, so...
The current girlfriend is not as hot as the show makes out. There's actually, I have a problem with that.
I think she's quite hot.
Nah. She's got someone with a beaky nose. She's got a beaky nose. She isn't that fit. I think this is a problem that a lot of shows do, actually. They do this thing where the characters try and tell you somebody's really hot and all the other characters behave like they're really attractive. But the main character is more attractive than the person who's like, hey, they're meant to be really hot. Which I find strange because it pulls me out a bit. Why not just actually get someone very attractive? Maybe that's just my personal taste. Maybe I just didn't find her attractive.
That's fine, so that's a good thing.
She looks like a twiglet to me. But
okay, so, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, is it worth it?
Do you know what? I enjoyed it. I think it's a fun show, and if you put it on, I wouldn't be like, turn that off, please turn it off. I would probably just sit and enjoy it, maybe put my Switch down and pay a bit more attention.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, you've shown me some of the later songs. I thought they're quite fun. But I did think that episode wasn't fantastic. It didn't grip me loads. And I do find it a bit abrasive and overly shouty American at times.
Yeah.
And I would put it this way. I think I would recommend it, because it is quite girly. Yeah. I'd recommend it to people that like sort of girly musical comedies and want something easy to watch that's fun, and also if you want to get into it, maybe has some deeper stuff about mental health issues.
Okay.
But for me, probably not. I wouldn't sit down and watch the rest of it.
And you know what, I'll accept that because I knew it would be a slightly long shot and I knew you enjoy sections of it. So I'll take it it's not worth it for you, but it may be for other people. So if you enjoyed our talk about it today, guys, I highly recommend watching it on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not huge on musicals anyway. I think I said that in the intro.
Yeah.
But I have a slight problem with the way musicals can sometimes just have music rammed in rather than being part of woven into the narrative.
Did you
properly.
feel this was woven in more?
I did actually. I do think as musicals go, I think it's actually a really good example. I think TV musicals are probably something that are kind of rare, right? I don't know that many of them.
Yeah, I don't think there are that many. I think this is a newish trend.
And I think it's quite a cool idea. And if you're into musicals, it's probably a really good way to get more bang for your buck. Like, you're getting a lot more music, right? But as I say, it's probably just not my cup of tea,
It's
really.
not for me.
It's not for me. It's a good show, though. I can't say it's bad. Just perhaps.
Fair enough. So, Misfits.
You seem to enjoy it quite a lot. This is the most positive I think
Yeah.
you've ever been after one episode of
You know
anything
what?
I've shown you.
It really was worth it for me. I think you've won this week. I really enjoyed it. I would happily continue watching it just to find out what these characters do with these superpowers and if there's other people like them and just where the show goes. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it... Because I felt like Misfits is very much a character-driven thing.
Yeah, I love...
You want to see what those people are up to.
Yeah, I want to see what those people are up to. So maybe if the characters, as you say, start changing in later seasons, it might be like I slowly drop out. But for now, yeah, it's worth it for me. I definitely want to see what...
what they get up to.
what happens next. So, yeah, I think, what's that, 1-1 now?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll take that.
Officially.
Yeah, because Misfits, it does have an overarching narrative, but it is stronger, I think, as a character-driven piece. You do like most of the characters.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty likeable. Maybe at the start, what's the girl who makes everyone want to have sex with her? She's not as likeable at the start, but I think the rest of them are pretty likeable. Like, Kelly gets a moment on her own.
Yeah.
She's quite likeable.
I definitely would say so. Amazing.
Yeah. Sweet, I win.
You do in this week.
Brilliant. Bloody brilliant.
Until next week. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to us this week. Please stay tuned. If you're listening on Spotify, please give us a follow. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, if you could give us a nice rating, that would be amazing. Give
And
us
Stitcher, don't forget the
and
Android
Stitcher.
things.
Give us a like, a subscribe, a rating. We would love that. And don't worry, guys, we will be back next week because, trust me, it is worth it.
Also, Misfits was better and I won.